What is going on, guys? Good here, and today we'll be looking at the ASUS VG248. So firstly, what comes in the box? The box consists of the LCD panel, the monitor stand, a DisplayPort 1.2 cable, a power cable, and a screw to assemble it all. So the assembly is pretty straightforward. All you need to do is get your monitor stand and insert it inside of your LCD panel. After you've done that, you're going to get the screw that comes in the package and screw it inside of the little hole that's on the bottom of the monitor stand. What makes it even easier is that you don't need to use any type of equipment, and this can all be done with your bare hands. As you can see, once I've finished it, the monitor is very sturdy and all together. The ASUS VG248 is a 24-inch Full HD monitor. It is 165Hz, which is also overclockable, and has a half a millisecond response time. It is also G-Sync and Adaptive Sync compatible. The ASUS can be adjusted in many different ways. It can go from 0 to 130mm high. It can swivel sideways from 90 to negative 90 degrees. It can also tilt from 33 degrees to a negative 5 degrees. And my favorite feature is that it can go fully horizontal, meaning it could pivot from 90 degrees to a negative 90 degrees, either clockwise or counterclockwise. It is very easy to handle, and I have no problems adjusting it. The VG248 has a DisplayPort 1.2, an HDMI port 1.4, a DVI dual link, a DCI in port for power, an audio in port, and an earphone jack. Also, there is a hole carved out in the monitor stand, which is used for cable management. The wires go through the front of the monitor all the way to the back. This is a very nice and small feature. Now I'll be playing a sound test. Finally, here are the buttons of the monitor. The joystick opens OSD settings when pressed and moves around it. The button under it cancels stuff. Under that opens the Game Plus settings. Under that is another way to open the game visual. And finally, the last button turns on and off the power. So now that we know all this, let's check the OSD settings. Firstly, let's see the game visual. I'll be showing every option available and telling you which one I prefer. So in the game visual, this is the user mode, the sRGB mode, FPS mode, RPG mode, cinema mode, racing mode, and scenery mode. In my opinion, I suggest getting the user mode as it makes all the colors very vibrant and everything is equal. After this, we do the blue light filter. This makes more blue light and it's better for your eyes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I suggest just staying on 0 as I don't really see any difference in my eyes, but that's your choice. And if you change your blue light settings, it's going to automatically change your game visual, so we'll change that back. Now it's the color, and this is the brightness. So obviously the brightness changes how light and dark your screen is, so the lower you go, the darker your screen is. I suggest staying around 90, but that just depends on how your layout is. After brightness, it's contrast, which is basically the same thing, but it just shows the colors in a different way. And the higher you go, the more vibrant it will be, and the lower you go, as you can see, it gets darker and more dull. But I suggest going around 80 to 90 section, as it just makes the colors a lot better. Now we're at saturation. This is probably the most important one. And as you can see, once you go down in saturation, it goes all gray. So I suggest going up to 65, as going too high will make your things way too vibrant and it's not going to look good. It's going to be catchy to your eyes. So just stay around the 50 to 60 area. After that, these are all personal preference. It depends what you want. I suggest using user mode or warm. skin tone is also very minor. You can use red, natural, or yellow. I just use natural. And smart view, turn this off because on just destroys your beauty and just makes it all white. Image, these are very minor things as well. Sharpness, I suggest keeping it around 50, as if you put it too high, everything will look very pixelated and like too like in detail. So keep it around 50. Then we get to trace free, and this is something that just compromises the settings for ghost visibility and chrono visibility. So it doesn't really matter, I say just keep it at 100. After this, aspect control can't be changed, and we get to vivid pixel. What this does is it just pixelates your screen if for some reason you want to, so I just keep that at 0. And then it's ASCR, and what this does is makes your contrast 100 million to 1 ratio and adjusts the brightness accordingly. I just make it off. I don't really see a difference. And adaptive sync, obviously this just eliminates tearing, stuttering, and jitter. It's usually for video games. And after that we get to sound, and this is also all personal preference, whatever you want. I set my volume to around 50. Mute if you want to mute your sound. And then there's also a very nice feature that I really enjoy, and that is source. So if you want to hear your volume from any different source that you're on, DisplayPort, HDMI, you can do that. And then as I said, there's an input select. So you can select your HDMI, DisplayPort, DVI if you have anything plugged into those. And the system setup, I didn't really touch any of these as I didn't see any point in them. I turned all these off. OSD setup, you can change some settings in these, like timeout if you wanted to get less time. Transparency if you want the OSD settings to be a little more transparent or just cover up everything, as you could see on the screen. After this we get to language, and obviously whatever language you speak. Key lock, I have it off. Information, this just shows whatever specs you're running on your monitor. Power indicator is on, you can turn it off. Power key lock, I have it off, doesn't really matter. And then you could reset everything from this one button. Finally, there's a my favorite section, and you can save your settings here. I have 2 settings saved, as you can see. This is one of them. I have another one in setting 2, and if you want to save one, you just press the save button. And that's about it for the OSD settings for your visuals. Once we finish this, we can change other settings in the Game Plus, such as your crosshair. You can change it to any one of these options. Another thing you can do is set a timer. This is very helpful. I've used it a few times. You can set a timer from 30 to 90 minutes. You can see it comes up the top left. FPS counter, it shows how many FPS you're running, and I'm at 165 as the monitor is. And finally, you can align your display if you think it's not aligned properly. So you can do that accordingly. And that is it for the OSD settings. As a result, the ASUS VG248 is a very good monitor for its price. It has very good specs and can be adjusted very easily and can almost fit in everybody's setup. It has really no flaws and can do anything you want it to do. If I had to give it a rating, I'd give it a solid 9 out of 10. This will be it for the video. If you have any inquiries, you can contact me on social media or the Discord server. And as always, thank you and catch you next time.